It is hard to think of a better way to immerse yourself in a new city and a new culture than through their food. Here in Mexico City, my girlfriend Brianna and I have had some amazing meals. I want to tell you about some of the best things we ate and also some of the things that maybe disappointed us a little bit. But man, I'm gonna miss the food in this city. When we told our friends we were going to Mexico City, we were inundated with suggestions on where to eat. Between our friends and about 1 million blogs, we had a Google map of stars that would take months to get through. That said, all the places we tried were great and every place featured will be in the description of the video below. But here were the top 5. We went to Lardo on our first night, literally going straight from the Airbnb to this dinner. It really set the tone for the trip. The ham and cheese croquettes were incredible, but it was the shrimp lentil stew that was truly the best shrimp I have ever had. One of the most beautiful places we dined at was Ángel Inn. In our denim jackets and shorts, we definitely felt a bit underdressed. The setting was picturesque, made all the more so by the rain. Where we were seated, we were undercover, but still got to enjoy the atmosphere of it all. The tableside Caesar salad was definitely the highlight, and the salmon with garlic butter was also good, but overall the food didn't compare to the rest of the trip. We were told by a lot of friends to try Contramar, which we dined out at on our second night. Everything was delicious, but the tuna tostada really stood out as one of the best things we ate in Mexico. Definitely go to Contramar. We didn't have a reservation, but we were seated pretty much immediately around early dinner time. Whenever I travel somewhere new, I always have this catch-22 of trying someplace amazing and just wanting to go back there every single day and eat there again and again, but also wanting to try all the other new restaurants and see all the other possibilities of things that we could eat. Here in Mexico City, that has been harder than ever. Every morning we've gone to a new Panadería, tried an incredible pastry, and just been like, well, we have to come back here again. But then there's also this other place that we want to try. We had a lot of great coffee and pastries from places like Quentin and Café El Minutito and Cayetana. We had unbelievable pastries from Odette, which you must try even though it didn't make my top 5.
It just feels delicious.
The cinnamon roll there was delicious and everything inside smelled and looked fantastic, and it was right by this really pretty park. But the hype was real, and Panadería Rosetta truly had the best pastries we tried in Mexico City. They're famous for their guava pastry, which we got on every single one of the 3 visits we made over our week-long trip.
It's a little bit crumbly.
Okay.
The almond croissant was also so soft and fluffy, and I'm so sad that I won't be able to have their pastries again until I come back to Mexico. Honestly, their pastries are alone worth warranting a trip.
It's gooey chocolate.
Oh.
It's not the sticks.
This is a very popular tourist destination. Almost everyone in line was speaking English, but I'm sorry, there's a reason for the hype. The line was always long but moved very fast. Please don't skip this spot or you're going to regret it. Like Ángel Inn, there were a lot of places we tried where the restaurants themselves were a spectacle along with the food. Tetetlán was built almost like a cave. The floors were made of glass that overlooked caverns below. Above the restaurant was a bookstore and record shop, and although the main courses were a little underwhelming, the drinks and desserts were excellent. We loved Taverna. The ambiance was stunning and the food was great too. Even though it didn't make my top 5, the beet carpaccio was delicious and the octopus, which I always feel bad about eating, was perfectly cooked. It really added to the experience of eating at a place with such personality. If you watched last week's video, you will have seen that the highlight of the trip was a tour we took of these floating farms in Xochimilco. One of the things that made the tour so good was the food we ate in the street markets afterwards. We started off with tacos made with chorizo and pork belly. I had seconds and thirds and washed it down with a mango soda. But that didn't prepare me for one of the top things I ate the entire trip, which was a chicharron quesadilla. Look, I don't know even how to direct you to this place. Just go to Xochimilco and start trying food. You might not get the exact thing that I ate, but you're guaranteed to have a delicious and authentically Mexican dish. I was savoring each bite. I truly didn't want it to end. And this was after a week of eating incredible meals. Besides all the ones I mentioned, we also had great ice cream at Carmela on our first night. We had a huge and delicious pork chop from Gaba that was unfortunately way too big to finish, but we had already filled up on all the delicious courses there. We tried a grasshopper quesadilla, which I wish I could tell you we ate every bite of, but we only took a couple of bites. But we did finish it off with a delicious churro. It's disgusting. You're a disgusting woman. We also got street tacos on our way to a lucha libre match, which were so good, and on a whim, we stopped off at a place called Chilpa, which wasn't even on our list, but had one of the best shrimp tacos I've ever had, just sticking with the simple ingredients, but doing them all perfectly. As our trip has been wrapping up here, I turned to Brianna this morning as we were on our way to Panadería Rosetta for a second time to get their guava pastry, and I was like, God, I don't want this to end. But also, there isn't really a reason for it to end. Back in Chicago, we can always still just wake up and go to Daisy's or go to another bakery and get pastries again. This doesn't need to be a travel thing. It's great to use it as an excuse to be like, all right, well, time to get up and get our pastry, but it doesn't need to end here. I mean, traveling is one of those things that really makes you appreciate living life and trying new things, and there is no good reason why you can't do that in your own city. There's tons of places in Chicago that I haven't discovered yet that I want to try. This kind of gets back to my catch-22. It's not just with food and wanting to try new places and not just go back to the places that we loved already. It also applies to travel. Now that we've come to Mexico City, we both just want to come back here every single year. But there are so many other cities and places that we want to discover. I mean, Mexico City is definitely going to be a place that we come back to, but there's only so many years in our lives and so many places to go, and I want to try them all. But one thing I can do is really get to know my own city. So when I get back to Chicago, I'm going to try more places. I'm going to explore new neighborhoods. I'm going to travel in my own city. Okay, there's still one more restaurant to go to. It's the one on our last day, and it's the one that we've been looking forward to the most. It's time to go to Pujol. Eating at Pujol is one of those once-in-a-lifetime dining experiences. Every one of our friends told us to grab a reservation as soon as possible, which I did on the only day that was available, which was our last night. Our seating was at the bar, which I preferred because every dish was presented to us all at once with everyone else. We had a crab tostada with ants and a delicious tomato soup, a lobster soup, scallops, tuna taco, an absolutely unreal soft-shell crab taco, a fish chorizo empanada, 10-year-old aged mole, and a passion fruit mousse for dessert, not to mention a delicious carajillo to toast to it all. Pujol exceeded our expectations, and I'm not going to forget just how good everything was. I really hope you enjoyed this video and following us along on all the incredible food places that we've tried. I also made another video about all the other things that we did, from museums to going to a lucha libre wrestling match to one of the most amazing tours I've ever done in my life. If you want to see that video, make sure to subscribe to this channel, and for more videos just like that. I make videos about food, film, fashion, and all the other things that I enjoy doing. So I'll see you guys next time.
You can't see me wink.
Oh, good.